Before we get started, guys, I want to make sure I mention that this class, the reason why I put this class together is I've been with the board, the Miami board, for 10 years, and I kind of want to teach you the way that I learned how you can understand zoning. And not to mention, when it comes to land, there's just not enough agents that are getting into land sales. Most agents get licenses in order to sell property, right? Residential property, commercial property. And because land is so important right now, especially with Generation Z, Generation Z is finally starting to let us know what they're interested in outside of renting. They're looking at a lot of different land opportunities, and not to mention, there's a lot of zoning changes that are happening all across South Florida, especially in agricultural districts, not to mention commercial districts that are becoming mixed use now. I'm going to explain a little bit of what mixed use means and a lot of agricultural land that we see towards Weston, Doral, right next to the turnpike, all the way down to Kendall, near the hospital out there near 88th Street. A lot of that is becoming rezoned for residential use. So the goal would be to kind of find these land before they're rezoned for residential use, buy them while they're cheap, and then kind of have a developer, if we're kind of in the way, and I say this nicely, they might be able to buy that land 2x, 3x higher than what we originally bought it when it was agricultural. Okay, now this class, as I mentioned, is very informational based. So I'm going to go through a lot of different websites, including Miami-Dade County's website. We're going to look at a little bit of Broward County as well when it comes to their zoning districts and zoning information. So where I am right now, I just put this directly into chat. What this is our overall understanding of land use, specifically as it's zoned by the Miami-Dade County. Now, as you can see, these yellow areas, that's going to be where we can have single family homes. So those are going to be our RS, residential single family districts. There's different codes for those. There's RS1, RS2. We're going to discuss a little bit of that in just a moment. And we're going to run across areas as well for low density, multifamily, high density, including residential multifamily. I'm going to discuss what RM means when it comes to multifamily as well, townhouse, and much, much more. So if you're ever working directly with a buyer, that's the main goal here. Maybe it's a developer, maybe a local developer that wants to take maybe a small parcel and they want to build on top of that land. I want you to be able to look for all of that information here, and not to mention also in the MLS. Very, very important. Okay. So again, this is a overall general understanding of how the county of Miami-Dade has set up each individual section based on what the land can be used directly for. Okay. So now, again, this is a great map, but what we want to make sure that we have access to is going directly into greater detail to understand individual zoning districts. Again, this is more of a overall view. Okay, where I'm going to go real quick is I'm going to jump directly into Miami-Dade's land management map. I'm going to go ahead and put this also into chat so everyone has access to this. Okay, I did get a question from Ashley. Yes, so this does go to this class does go towards the commercial certificate. Yes. And don't worry, I will make sure that you guys get credit for this as well. Okay, now as soon as you go into the land management map, if you zoom in, what this is going to do is it's going to show you each individual parcel, each individual property, including their boundaries. And I don't want anyone confused. When you access the land management map, maybe you're working with a developer, right? Maybe they're interested in, for example, this property. When we see numbers, like for example, this number right here, V20240000109, it means that the owner of the property or piece of land, they have filed applications in order to possibly modify that piece of land. That's going to allow us to know what they are doing with that piece of land. Okay. If you click On the details, that's going to show you exactly who's applied, the current resolution, the process number, and also here on the right, what they're doing to modify that piece of land. Okay, so again, that's as soon as you go directly into the zoning records before you click on anything. Okay, so easiest way in order to understand your zoning districts, this is very, very important, is when you go into Miami-Dade's land management map. Again, this is the zoning records where I can see applications. But if I go here where I see zoning, what that does is it creates a little heat map, which will show me individual zoning districts. So if you're new, you don't know what RU1 is, BU-1 is. This is where I want to bridge that gap. Okay, so I'm going to go real quick. I'm going to put this also into chat. This is going to be our individual zoning districts. Okay, just put that into chat for Miami-Dade. Later on, I'm going to send also for Broward County as well. So, for example, I go here. Maybe I have a developer. Maybe they're looking to use an infill lot. Maybe there's a development that's a single family home area. For example, residential, right? And I want to know what can be built in that particular area. For example, RU1. I can go directly into this zoning map, into the zoning district for Miami-Dade. I can go right here where you see single family residential. I can give that a click, and it's going to tell me what I can do. What can I build? What kind of property can I build? Uh, what accessory things can I develop on top of that land? For example, can I put pools, sheds, garages, carports on top of it? And if I'm trying to maybe have that land rezoned, maybe I'm trying to have it where we can have multi-family units instead of it being single family. I have information for workforce housing. I also know that there's options here for family daycare, group homes, home occupation, and accessory units, potentially accessory dwelling units as well, as we can see. That's a fancy way of saying an in-law quarter. So as we go down, this is my favorite part. If I'm working directly with a developer, right? Maybe a local developer here, it's going to tell me exactly what can be built, including the minimum requirement of that lot size, including the square footage, and also how much of that land can incorporate a property. So it's letting me know if I have a parcel, right? The maximum coverage on that lot, meaning how much I can have of real property, we're looking at 40%. It's going to include limitations on the frontage size, rear, interior side street, as well as options for utility sheds, accessory dwelling units, and much, much more, as we can see right here. So again, I want to teach you how during my time within the MLS department, how we went directly into the zoning districts in order to understand, again, what is an RU1? What is a RU5A, right? What is an AU? Again, I come directly into this beautiful little zoning district section, it's going to tell me what is an RU1MA, as well as if I move down a little bit, what is considered to be an EUS, as well as RU2. Again, I'm going to show you how to apply this in the MLS in just a moment. We also have the ability to understand what a two-family residential is, an RU townhouse district as well. And as we go down, I just want to highlight real quick, we're going to discuss these options in a little bit. If we go down a little bit, if you're brand new to commercial, maybe you're going from residential into commercial, I also get a good understanding of my commercial zoning districts, including neighborhood businesses, limited business use, special business use, liberal business use, and I work in warehouse districts, right? I have my IU1, which is my industrial light manufacturing, my industrial heavy manufacturing, IU3, which is your industrial unlimited manufacturing. Again, I'm working with a buyer. This is the main point that I'm trying to stress. I'm working directly with the buyer. I'm going directly into this map. Maybe it's land where we can build an industrial warehouse space, maybe a small hub in particular. I can go right here where I see IU-1. I'm working with that developer. This is where I can tell them exactly the requirements on the size of the property in order for them to build. Also, want to stress this real quick. You want to pay attention to these areas, mixed use districts. That these are going to be your traditional neighborhood development districts. What those are, if you go into your map, those are your areas that are residential and commercial. I say this nicely. We have a lot of business owners, a lot of retail business owners, in specific restaurant owners that they're struggling right now, right, with their loans. Not all of them, some of them, right? What we might be able to do is locate properties inside of these mixed use districts. What the goal would be is to help them possibly secure a loan where they can run their business, right? Out of maybe the first floor and then technically live somewhere maybe on that second floor. So we're going to go into mixed use property as well once we get directly into IMAP. And I get this question all the time. How do I look up future areas of development if I do decide to come directly into the map? How can I find the areas here, either zoned directly by the city or by the county? How can I find areas of development? So that's crucial. I want to make sure I mention that. How can we locate those areas of development here through the map? Okay. Once, for example, right here, planned area of development. I now know using this map, once I go into the zoning district, I now know that the city is going to begin developing properties there. So there's three different classifications, though, when it comes to planned areas of districts. We have the planned areas of development here. We also have employment center planned areas where they're going to build commercial sites, office spaces, right? And then we have RED pad, which is going to be future areas of development when it comes to retail entertainment districts. Right there, we can look those up and become establishing ourselves as the local expert when it comes to the future areas of development. So again, please pay attention to this area if you're a Miami-Dade agent. As we go down, we also have the ability to look at agricultural use districts as well as interim districts as well. I'm hyper emphasizing on agricultural use districts because some of those areas are being rezoned. And we see one right here. Let me go over here real quick. This used to be agricultural. It's being rezoned for residential use. So if you are, again, an investor, maybe you're a real estate agent that wants to best service a buyer to possibly find deals, I would look in those areas. Again, future areas of development. Again, I'm going to go into the MLS so we can quickly identify those areas so we can make deals happen. What I mean by that is if I buy a land right now, maybe at 30,000, 40,000, that's zoned agricultural, and then later through zoning, it becomes residential, I guarantee a developer is going to offer to almost three times as much as how much we originally purchased it when it was agricultural. Okay, so again, please take advantage of these zoning districts when you use the Miami-Dade land management map. Again, come here over here where you see the three stack papers. Make sure that you add the zoning overlay. This is going to help you understand all of those different areas, including industrial zoned areas as well. And of course, where we can build townhomes, small businesses as well. Okay, let me go ahead and jump in the chat real quick before we keep going. All right, Ashley, how can we see that it's being rezoned? Okay, so that's a good question. So that's going to be through the process. There's different ways to do that. You do have the ability to go into each individual city management websites in order to get that information as well. But typically, how it gets started is landowner has to go through the hearing process, specifically entitlements, in order to make that happen. Perfect. Now, Ashley, I am going to also go into the MLS so we can potentially find those areas as well. Okay, so again, I want to be very clear. This is Miami-Dade County. Okay. All right. Now, there's also two other websites that you want to know about. Okay, so Miami Beach has their own zoning districts outside of Miami-Dade County. Okay, so what I'm going to go ahead and do real quick, I'm going to put this in the chat so everyone has access to this. What that's going to do is it's going to take you directly into a website, Gridix. And if you're a beach agent, I want you to be able to go directly into the map. What that's going to allow me to do is jump directly into Miami Beach. And if I don't know, just as an example, what a TH is, again, that's going to be a townhome district. I have RM, which is your residential multifamily. That's where we can build three units per parcel. If I don't know what the requirements are according to the city as well as zoning, I can literally go into this map, click, just going to use this as a sample. It's going to let me know that this area is zoned right there, RM2, RM3, and it's letting me know the existing use that has been approved directly by the city. Right here, we have multifamily 10 units plus, multifamily 3 or more units, hence the RM3. And if I want to know what can be built, I can look a little bit closer. We have the ability to jump directly into uses as well, lodging information, as well as seeing the individual layers. So I'm going to go here real quick. All right, I'm going to go right there again under zoning. I'm going to click on RM3. It's real slow there. There you go. Okay, and that's going to allow me to click on RM3. That puts me into a section that lets me know what is classified as RM3. What can we build there? So we have the following: single family detached dwellings, townhomes, apartments, and for lodging, for commercial, we have apartment hotels, suite hotels, hostels, and it also gives me what we can build as far as square footage, maximum height, ocean lots, architectural districts, and much, much more. So again, how do I do that one more time? All you have to do is go into the zoning section and then click on, for example, this is an RM-3 district. That's going to tell me what can be built there or what exists specifically there as well. Okay, so again, that's this Miami Beach. Another website that I want to make sure you guys know about if you are a Miami-Dade agent is going to be the city of Miami. Okay, so the city of Miami also has separate zoning districts. Now, theirs is highly based on density, how many properties that we can put within each individual set of land. So I'm going to also go ahead and put this in a chat. Again, you're going to get all these links again when I email you. All right, I just put that in the chat so everyone has this. And if you want to look up each individual piece of land, you want to go into this link. It's going to take you directly to the GIS map of the city of Miami. Again, that's Miami 21, which is their website. I'm going to put this also in the chat. Okay. And what I love about the city of Miami is it's a lot easier to look up information based on what each individual piece of land or each property can be used for. And in some instances, it does also show me the previous use. Why is that important? If I'm working directly with the developer, right, they want to buy that piece of land. It will, in some instances, when I hover over that piece of land, it might tell me the previous use of that land. So, for example, if this piece of land was zoned for single family and it was previously under the use of maybe a duplex, maybe it's in a for example, T2 district in particular in that area. If it was used in that manner before, I contact the city possibly for rezoning, it's going to let me know if they might be a little bit more flexible in order to do so. Okay, so I'm just going to hover over this little piece of land real quick. And this is what's amazing about the city of Miami. It gives me, just like normal, the folio, the city address, the current owner, their mailing address, legal description, and they have a easier system as far as digesting zoning in order for me to learn how the city of Miami does their individual zoning districts. So it's letting me know that this particular piece of land is zoned currently as T3R. I'm going to discuss what that means in just a moment. Now it's former zoning. So if I want to maybe have this not T3R, and I want to switch it to maybe where I can build a single family home, I do see here under zoning, it was previously zoned as R1 for residential single family use before. That's going to allow me, if I want to buy that, maybe this infill lot, build, maybe have it rezoned. There's that possibility there. Okay. Now, if you don't know what a T3R is, again, all of the different zonings that start with T, that's going to tell you that the property is located in the city of Miami. So if I go here, T3R, I don't know what that means. It's going to take me directly into Gridix. It's going to show me right here the building disposition. As I go down, it's going to let me know building can consist of two dwelling units at the frontage, may be built on each lot. As I go down, it's going to go also mention if there's any setbacks. And as I go down, it's going to give me more information based on, so that I do not get in trouble, articles. As we can see here, frontage size, maximum lot size as well, located here. All right, let me jump into chat. Oh yeah, it's amazing, actually. The reason why I wanted to provide this class, it would just one more time, is this is very confusing to learn. It's very confusing to learn, and I'm not gonna lie, it took me several years to understand what all of these different terms are. Okay, so again, make sure that you know the following. We're just going to recap real quick when it comes to the city of Miami. Okay, so you want to make sure that you access Miami 21's website, and their zoning is called transect zoning. City of Miami is very dense, a lot of commercial, retail, condos in that area. It's all based on how much we can pack on one piece of land. When it comes to Miami Beach, they have their own zoning as well. You want to make sure that you access this map. And if the property's in unincorporated Miami-Dade and also within the jurisdiction outside of municipalities, we want to make sure that we know about the Miami-Dade County map as well. Okay, so Tyson, how do I apply this information when I'm in the MLS? So that's the next thing that we're going to do. We're going to go here. We're going to go ahead and go directly into the main website, miamirealtors.com. And I'm going to show you how we can apply this information in the MLS. And of course, not to mention best habits, understanding these individual pieces of land when we're searching both residential and not to mention commercial as well. Again, I'm going to get rid of any of the moments, and I'll send you guys a copy of everything I go over either by the end of today or by tomorrow. Okay, along with the packet 4. Let me go back real quick. Not just for, let me go here real quick. Not just for Miami, but also for the individual zoning district maps. So I'm building this for all of you guys, as well as their individual GIS maps. So you can look up, for example, Aventura, Bal Harbor. I'm also building it for Broward County, including their land use maps, use codes. Just wait for me. I'll get that over to you guys either today or tomorrow as well. Okay. Palm Beach coming soon. We're going to get that built out, as well as Martin and St. Lucie. But again, Broward County does it a little bit different. Before we go into Matrix, I want to make sure I mention Broward County does it a little bit different. They have their own individual land use map as well. Just going to plug this into chat so everyone has it. All right. Okay. I'm going to put that in the chat. We also have, let me go back here real quick, individual use codes. Now, Broward County's website, I want to make sure I mention, if you go to the Broward County Property Appraisers website, I love their website. It's amazing. But these are going to be, let me just put this in the chat real quick, if it's going to let me. Let me make sure I get rid of that extension. That might be why. If I go to Broward County Property Appraisers use codes, I need to make sure I mention this. This information is valuable, but this is individual codes that are set by the state of Florida. These are more general. Okay, so for example, 01, there's sub codes underneath 01, such as RS1, where I can build per acre one single family a home. RS2 is going to be where I can build 2 units per acre. So again, these are just more general codes. What you want to make sure that you do is you want to make sure that you look at the Broward County code definitions right here for Broward County. I'm going to put this in the chat as well. Again, wealth of information. I hope I'm not overwhelming everyone. Okay, so that's going to let me know for Broward County what's A1, agricultural district, AE, which is agricultural estate district, where there, again, I can have properties on top of that farmland, B2, convenient shopping, B3, community, and for my residential, because I know a lot of you are, residential. As I go through the list, I'll pick up my RMs, my residential multifamily, where I can build 1 unit, 2 unit, 3 unit there. Davie individual use codes, Deerfield individual understandings of these. Again, RM10, meaning I can have up to 10 units per acre. I'm going to show you how to calculate that. My T districts as well for mobile homes. That's very important. Mobile homes are being, I'm not going to lie, a lot of mobile home districts, they're being rezoned for um, condos as well. So I want to make sure I mention that. So go ahead and take advantage of this, guys. Wealth, wealth, wealth of information. What I like about Broward County is they're a little more uniform. It's easier to digest their individual use codes when you look those up. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started, guys. Let's go directly into the MLS. All right, we're going to go into the MLS system. So we're going to go right there where you see core logic matrix. All right. Okay. So once we go directly into the MLS, what I want to make sure that you guys know how to do, if you're ever looking for land in the MLS, be that residential or commercial, I want you to be able to figure out if that individual piece of land is under a subdivision. That's very, very important. Okay, I'm going to mention why that's important once we start searching. Okay, so we're going to go over here in the top left corner, right there where you see search, and we're going to go into a section that you may not have been in before. We're going to go into the RLD, which is residential land section, and we're also going to go here into the CLD, the commercial land section as well. Okay, first, we're going to go right there where you see RLD for residential land, boat, and docks. All right, we're going to go ahead and give that a click. Okay, now, as I have that open, though, for this quick little example, we're going to focus on, at least first, we're going to look at Broward County. So I'm going to open up the BCPA map right here, just real quick. All right, and then from there, once I go into the search, we're going to go ahead and just look at active units. I am going to turn off coming soon and active with contract. That's not traditionally statuses that we see here under the residential land section. Okay, so first, just to highlight, because last month I did a lot of my concentration as far as Miami-Dade. This month we're going to do a little bit of some Broward County. I'm going to go right here where you see Broward County, and at this time within the MLS, we do have 284 land that is zoned for residential. Now that's going to include land that we can find where we can build maybe one single family home, maybe duplex, triplex, up to 4 units under this category. But I can also find as well, as you can see right here, boat, docks. Those are going to be in your RM districts when it comes to Broward County in particular, as well as dock spaces as well. Now, here's the thing. If we do look for boats and docks, they have to be deeded. I got to make sure I mention that. They have to be deeded. Deeded means that they have individual folios, meaning that they can be sold separately. Very important I mention that, especially if we're working directly with the condo owner and they're trying to sell maybe a boat dock that they own, boat slip that they own, dock spaces as well. Very important. They have to have individual folio numbers. They have to be recognized by the city or county. And the reason why that is some condo owners are not aware that their boat slips, even cabana spaces, in some instances, they have to be sold along with the condo unit. That can be found when in doubt by contacting the condo association. Again, that's based on the bylaws of for example, the condo association. Okay, so again, we're going to go here, active Broward County. We do have 284 results. We're going to keep this just basic for now. I'm going to go ahead and click on results and we're going to get started. Okay, now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and select this one right here. We're just going to take a quick little preview of this individual parcel right here. The current acreage size is we're looking at 15th of an acre, specifically 6,731 as the square footage. So one thing that we need to keep in mind is 1 acre, and I teach this in our commercial MLS classes. It's very important to know this. 1 acre, when it comes to square footage, that's going to be 43,560 square foot. So it's letting me know that this is a little over a 15th of an acre in size. It is letting me know that it is RM-9 when it comes to zoning. So that's going to be our residential multifamily. Per acre. We should be able to build nine properties. But again, that's based on per acre. This lot size specifically is only 6,731 square feet. So we might not be able to have 9 units on top of that land. That's the importance of what I want to make sure that I mention. Okay, but before we dissect doing any kind of math on the potential of this individual piece of land, I want to make sure that we understand zoning districts as well as if this land has been subdivided. I'm going to explain why that's important. So I'm going to click on this listing number and we're going to get started. Okay, so it's letting me know that the current asking price at this time is $325,000 for this individual piece of land. But as we go down, very, very important, it's letting me know right there that we need to check the land use map specifically in order to understand what can be built there. Now, as we go down, they do say the following in the remarks. Large lot close to the beach zone multifamily residential, which is, again, that RM part. Small house and detached garage currently on property, meaning we're going to need to knock down. They have a little casita, a little house there in the back, and a detached garage if we were to want to build there. Okay, so what I want to make sure that I do, especially if I have anyone that took Jose's class, the 3-part series, right? I want you to be able to go here into the MLS in order to understand from IMAP what's going on with that piece of land. Okay, so they're already letting me know that there's a small little house there in the back and a detached garage. So we want to know if they file permits to add these. What I love about IMAP, if I go into the folio number, is it will tell me that information. The other thing I want to make sure I mention right here is property is zoned for DH1 multifamily residential. Let's confirm that. We are going to go directly into the county record. So I'm going to click on the folio number. There's no attachments, meaning they haven't applied, at least from what I see, they haven't applied in order to maybe submit plans using architects in order to build on this piece of land. We're going to go directly into the folio number. Okay, now when I click on the folio number for this individual piece of land, again, it puts me directly into, make sure I mention, it puts me directly into, as we can see right here, into IMAP, where I can see everything pertinent to this individual piece of land, including the folio number. It gives me the PID, which is the folio number, gives me the property address, their tax mailing address, the current owners, and I can see right now that it is zoned specifically for single family. So this isn't a raw piece of land. Raw piece of land would be 00. So it's letting me know that it is zoned for where we have a single family home at this time. So I want to make sure I mention that. Okay. Another thing that I want my agents to do when you're working directly with buyers, okay? We have the ability to see something very, 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 very important. Subdivision. Okay. If you're looking at a piece of land and it says something like unplotted, it says unplotted or unzoned when you're looking at the subdivision information, there's a good chance that there is no utilities underneath that piece of land, including electrical. Okay, I want to make sure I mention that. It means that electrical's probably not done. Okay. It also might mean that septic hasn't been done underneath that land. And there's a good chance that there's no fiber optics, which would be your internet as well. So here's what's beautiful about the parcel that we're looking at. It is specifically under a subdivision of Hollywood Park, which again means that there's a strong likelihood of water lines somewhere there and possibly electrical, not necessarily on the land itself, but somewhere close by. Very important, again, when I'm working directly with the developer. So as I mentioned, this one that we're looking at in this particular situation, it's not raw land. It is zoned single family because there is a property there on top of it. So this is more of a tear down scenario. Okay, so this is good. It's letting me know that it is under a subdivision. Okay, now if this was a raw piece of land, especially if it's in a rural area, it might not have a full address. That's typical of land. Okay, if I don't see a full address and maybe I have a buyer that I need to take to go there, I would want to refer to the coordinates, specifically the latitude and longitude, in order to get to that piece of land. As I go down, I just want to check real quick. Let's move down under city interactions right there. Okay, there is a code violation here that was filed back in May of 2020, which I can go through the county record to see if it's still open or not. Okay. The other thing you want to get in the habit of doing as you look for these pieces of land, if you do decide to use IMAP, always go to the folio number, because what that does is it takes you into BCPA, Broward County Appraiser. That's going to let you know exactly the property use of that piece of land, as well as permits right there, including a card if it's available based on the property that was built there. So they have a record of the property as far as the bedroom and bathroom count, but I don't see any square footage there. Okay, very, very important that we mention that. And it was built, what's there was built there back in 1938. Okay, so I don't want to use this as a subject property, but again, I want to make sure that you guys know what to look for when you're working land. Okay, so we're going to go back real quick into Matrix. We're not going to use this one. This isn't my traditional land that has zero improvements. So I'm going to go right back here into my grid real quick. And let's look for another option real quick. Let's look for another little residential multifamily option in the menu. Now, you don't have to do what I'm doing. You don't have to do what I'm doing. You do have the ability, if you go into your criteria, you do have the ability, once you start learning your zoning, you can add as an additional field zoning information. So if you have a buyer that's maybe buying, maybe a 200,000 square foot lot that's zoned RM, maybe 12 as an example, meaning I can build up to 12 units per acre there, right? I can go here and just quickly find maybe those RM12 property, just like so. Typically, they may have a hyphen as well. That'll show you those quickly using that as an option. Okay, now I'm going to go back real quick. Let's just go ahead and select just to go over some math real quick so we know. Okay, so we have this piece of land, again, zoned RM12, meaning we should, based on this zoning district, have the ability to build up to 12 units per acre, but we have a limitation here. This lot's only 7,582 square feet, currently priced at 645,000. We're just going to go ahead and click on that one real quick. And here's what's interesting. They already had an architect on this one submit plans directly to the city in order to build there. So there might be a little bit of some additional costs with this one, including, yeah, there it is right there. Plans to build a high-end twin house, 2,298 square foot each side. All right. Plans were approved that were approved by the city and include the sale. Okay. So, the other thing to keep in mind, when I showed you guys under the folio number, if it's unplotted, the other thing I want to make sure I mention if it is unplotted under the subdivision information, there's going to have to be specifically an engineer is going to need to go out there, right, in order to do a survey. And Also look at the individual lot as far as, for example, if it's in a flood zone. That's another thing to keep in mind. We have those details further down. They're going to need to do a soil check in order to see if properties can be built there. We have, as you guys know, in some areas, a lot of sinkhole scenarios. They're going to need to go out there, do a survey in order to know if individual properties can be built there. So on this one that I just clicked on, what's amazing about it is in a subdivision. That means that specifically that it was when it was originally, parceled, separated according to zoning, that individual a lot was subdivided, incorporating possibly utilities, possibly FPL somewhere on the outside, electrical, possibly water lines. Okay. Now, before we get started, just to do some math real quick, I just want to teach you guys just how to do some math real quick. Now, this one is zoned RM12, meaning we could build up to possibly in this zoning district 12 units. But the lot size, as we can see, is only 7,582 square feet. So I just want to make sure you guys know how to calculate for if you're working with a buyer, what we might be able to build there. Okay, this is only the lot size is only 7,582 square feet. So if I want to know how many units I can build there, but we need to understand what 1 acre is, right? So 1 acre is 43,560 square feet, right? So we would take 7,582 divide by an acre, 43,560 square feet. Just going to do some math real quick, letting me know that only 7,582 square foot is only 17% of a full acre. Okay. So if I want to figure out how many possible units that I can build on top of that land, what I do is I take that percentage, right? So this is zoned RM-12. Okay. So what I would do is I take that point 17. Now that I know it's in an area where we can have up to 12 units, I take that 0.17 multiply by 12. This is going to tell me I can only, and we see it here, twin house. I can build no more than 2 units on top of that land. Just wanted to make sure I teach you guys how you can do that calculation using basic math. Okay, so again, how do you do that formula? Once you understand the individual zoning districts, again, this is an RM12, 12 units per acre. Again, I take the square footage, meaning the lot size, 7,582. I divide that by 43,560. That gives me my percentage. I take that percentage, I multiply that by how many units can be built there. That's going to let me know how many units can go there. Once I do that, I can go into the individual county website. So for example, this unit's in Hollywood. I would go to Hollywood, Florida zoning districts, which you have. I'm going to send you guys that email. That's going to let me know once I go into their website. It's going to let me know the minimum size of that property that can be built there when I'm working directly with that buyer. Okay. All right. Just wanted to share that information directly with you guys. Okay. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay. Now, as we keep going, guys, there's going to be a lot of other sets of insight that I want to make sure that you guys know about. Okay. So next thing that I want to teach you how to do is how can I run comparables? Okay. I know I have a buyer that maybe wants to buy this piece of land. How do I run comparables using Matrix, and how can I find those off-market sales? Because traditionally, a lot of land sales, they happen outside of the MLS. They do, right? Especially if it's a for sale by owner. How can I take advantage of looking at land comps in the MLS? And how can I take advantage of looking at land comps using as well IMAP? We're going to discuss both next. So earlier we did Broward County. We're going to switch this real quick to Miami-Dade. Okay, so we're going to pretend in our mind that we have a buyer. They want to buy a piece of land where we can build, for example, a single family home on top of that land. But in this case, specifically Miami-Dade, in the zip code of, just as an example, 33139. Okay. All right. So from there, we're going to go into the matches. All right. And I want to break down just some of these individual codes that we see here. Okay. So when it comes to Miami-Dade, as I mentioned, there's going to be different codes. So if I see 01, as I mentioned earlier in the beginning of the class, that's going to be specifically in the county of Miami-Dade in particular. So 01, as I said earlier, this is where I can build single family homes. Traditionally speaking, when it comes to Miami-Dade, multifamily units, those are going to be in the, for example, 3000s. But if you're in the MLS, right, and you want to figure out what is a 3900, what is that code? You can click on the listing number, go into the folio number right here. I'm going to click on the folio number. That's going to tell me right there what a zoning of 3900 is. I can go into the folio number when I'm using the IMAP, using the property ID. I can also move down. We're going to go down here just to show you this part. It's going to give me right here the individual zoning district. So this is RM-1, so I can go back into my guide to figure out what can be built there. It's going to give me the individual zoning code. So this is 3900 right there, where we have 38 up to 62 units per acre, and including the units there, including if there's any property currently built on top of that parcel at this time. So again, building information is going to tell me if there's anything currently built on top of that land at this time. Very important. Okay. Just wanting to make your lives much, much easier if you're a Miami-Dade and, of course, a Broward County agent as well. Okay. Now we're going to go back real quick. Let's go back. I'm going to click back on agent single line display. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to pretend that we have a buyer. They're interested in where we can build just single family homes based on zoning. So I'm going to go back into criteria real quick. All right. We're going to go ahead and let's incorporate active coming soon, active with contract, but this time we're going to use closed. We want to find those closed comps. All right. If you're ever working and you can't find comps, another thing I want to make sure I mention is if you're ever trying to find comps, you cannot find land comps at all. You're going to want to consider, we're going to do this later, you want to look for new construction. Typically speaking, new construction sales, 20 to 30% of the purchase price once it's sold. Again, 20 to 30% of that is typically the cost of the land. But new construction sales, you might be able to find, especially if it's an infill lot. Infill means that it's surrounded in a community. It's just land by itself, but it's surrounded by other single family homes in that same area. You're going to be able to find in an infill lot scenario, you're going to be able to find possibly how much the developer purchased in order to run your comparables. So I want to make sure I mention, do not sleep on new construction. That might help you, especially if it's in an area that's already been developed. There's already a community, but there was not a unit yet built somewhere there. Maybe it's a corner lot, just as an example. Okay, so we're going to go back. Let's do 365 days. So I'm going to go back a year. Traditionally speaking, land sales are a lot slower than residential sales. Okay, so again, active coming soon, active with contract closed. All right, and let's do a little bit of a limitation there on the lot size. Let's look for a lot under, let's do 10,000. Let's just see if we get, yeah, okay. We get a good amount. Okay. So again, the goal is to build at least one single family home. So we do have 7 matches that's currently available using active coming soon, active with contract closed, going back a year. Again, this is matrix. In a moment, we're going to go into IMAP so I can show you how to pull that full pie of possible comparables. Okay. From there, we're going to click on results. And if I'm looking not at multifamily, meaning I don't care about anything in the 3000s. I just want to look at comps right here under single family, again, 0, 1. I would want to remove those comps. So we're going to go ahead and remove the first two, number 4, 6, and 7. I'm going to go right here where I see refine. I'm going to click on discard to get rid of those. Okay, now here's what's interesting. I do have two comps that are coming back, but these comps are dependent on development applications. And if the current seller already has in mind a developer to build. So I'm going to go right here where we see the little photo icon. Okay, so this one's already including renderings in order to build. This is not just raw land. I'm going to go to this next one real quick. Okay, showing me an overall view of the area. So this does look like an infill scenario. I'm going to look at this closed sale comp right here, priced at 1.7. Let's open that up real quick. Okay, right there, remarks. Build on this spectacular 7,500 square foot lot located on the Venetian Islands, one of the hottest areas in Miami right now. Only listed available dry lot on Venetian. Okay, ready to build a contemporary with a full rooftop terrace with 360-degree views. This can be used for an end user or spec home builder with great opportunity to build and sell. So this is very important. I want to know what has been done. Has the current owner maybe submitted plans directly to the city to build? Please submit offers through prop offers. An offer management fee of 175. Okay, is charged by Pyramid. This fee. Okay, this agent representing the buyer, selling agent, and or transaction broker and paid to Pyramid platform. Okay, so they're not mentioning, at least on this one. I want to make sure I mention they're not mentioning that there's been any type of improvements there on that land. Okay, it does look like there has been some modifications towards at least the dock there. That is something that we do need to keep in mind. All right. The other thing to keep in mind, especially if we're wanting to do any kind of development on top of that piece of land, one thing that I want to just drive home real quick is we always want to check to know if there's any utilities that's been done there. A great way to do that is to go directly into the city's website. So, for example, this is going to be the city of Miami. We would want to go directly into the city of Miami, Miami 21 in particular, and possibly do what is called filing a letter of availability in order to understand any hookups there, including FPL, water, or sewer. Okay, want to make sure I mention that. The other thing is to always check to know if there's any restrictions on that land, including covenants and zoning restrictions. And that's going to be tied directly to the deed as well. Okay. The other thing to keep in mind is before we develop, if there's a survey that does take place, and again, a survey does have to take place, that's going to let us know if we can remove trees as well. Very, very important set of information to go over. Okay, now, as we move on, again, this looks like a raw land comp that we have. I'm going to go back into my grid real quick. Let's look at this very first one listed here. This is not a raw land comp. They are already showing possibly plans, including possibly an architect in order to build there. So it says it right there. Let's go here. Land plus expertly designed house property by world-renowned Schof Levy Fishman. Architecture plus design, landscape and pool designed by the acclaimed Christopher Coley. Approved right there. They're letting us know that the plans have been submitted, possibly applications. We could double check that through the city record. Approved architectural plans, secured permits, curated top tier builders, and the best rates. This is great to see, but this is not that raw land comp. Okay, let me jump into chat real quick. Jose asked, what's the response time from the city? That's a good question. That can take up to traditionally 6 months to a year. Good question. Okay, so if you get stuck like this, right? We only have one comp coming back where it's raw land when I'm working directly with that buyer, and I'm in the MLS. What I want to take advantage of is I would want to go into services like IMAP. IMAP. If I'm working directly with that developer, particularly that buyer, IMAP has the power want to be very clear. It has the power to find all comps that sold on and off of the market. Okay. So where we're going to go now is I do see we have this one parcel that did sell at 1.7 that was not improved. There's no renderings or plans directly to the city. What we're going to go ahead and do is try to find some additional comps, again, specifically in the zip code of 33139. Okay. So we're going to go here under tax search. We're going to go right there where you see property zip code equal to. I'm going to go ahead and put in that zip code, 33139. All right. And I'm going to go here, right here where you see property use code. Okay. So there's two different options that you have inside of the IMAP system. So I mentioned earlier, you have your state use codes, which I highlighted when we were looking at the BCPA use codes. That's going to allow me to search, for example, vacant residential. So that's, again, zone 00. So again, vacant residential, no improvements according to the state of Florida. Those are zoned under 00. Now here's the scenario. If I use the use code here of 00, that's going to give me a combination of where I can build, just as an example, a single family home or possibly up to 4 units. So you want to pay attention to each individual comp that comes back. You do also have the ability to go directly into the county use codes as you begin to learn them. We do have vacant residential total value. Again, that's 0004. Vacant residential cluster style home, meaning each individual lot are packed close together. So for example, think Cutler Bay, think townhomes as well, where they're all very close together. I have 0010 for vacant townhomes, again, vacant land, 0066 for vacant residential extra fee other than parking. And as I go down, I have my 0101 for residential single family 1 unit. Again, that means that there's a property there. Single family 2 units, multifamily. We have a lot of options for multifamily, 2 to 9 units there as well. For my commercial agents, want to make sure I show these off just real quick before we get started. Community shopping centers. One that's very important that I mentioned earlier for Miami-Dade, 1829 for office buildings, multi-story for mixed use. So that's going to be in our commercial residential areas. And then I also have my professional spaces as well that are for commercial residential use, mixed use, right there as well. And let's go down real quick. Let's also look at some additional options: restaurants or cafeterias, retail outlets, insurance spaces, and much, much more. Reason why I'm highlighting that real quick is a lot of us, we have a tendency to just look at the state options and we don't always see the individual county options that are located here that we could just look up as well. Okay, so I'm going to refresh this real quick. I'm going to add that zip code of 33139. All right, so what we're going to do is, as I mentioned, we're going to look for where we can build, because we looked at, for example, the district of RU1, the limitations there that we saw was we can add the minimum square footage was 7,500 in order to build single family homes. So we're just going to use a little bit of some science here. So we're going to use property zip code equal to 33139. We're going to go to property use code. For now, we're going to use vacant residential under the state use codes. Okay. So again, let's recap. Property zip code 33139, property use code 00 so far. Okay, now as we keep going, let me jump directly into chat real quick. Julio, can we do same with RPR? Julio, love that question. Does it exist? Can you do what I'm showing you using individual zoning districts and use codes inside of RPR? Yes, but my answer is don't. Why? Why do I say that? It doesn't work as well. You do have your standard land use options here, but IMAP lets you get down to individual zoning codes. And I love RPR. RPR does a lot of things well, extremely well. But the only thing that I would say that RPR struggles with is using land use. Why? I say this in their defense. RPR is a nationwide platform and They literally have to take in every municipality, every single city, and then have to map that and aggregate that data. I would go into IMAP. IMAP is Florida centric, meaning I can use the property use codes throughout the whole state of Florida, and I have access to every single county within IMAP. It's just a lot easier of a way to pull off that search. So what we're going to do is we're going to look starting at the square footage size of 7,500, but no more than 10,000 square foot. Again, that's based on the zoning requirements of that R1 district. So we're going to go into the fields that we're not using. So we're going to go here. We're going to go ahead and move up real quick. We're going to use the square footage size of the unit. So we're going to go right here under the section. We can use land area square footage. That's a great option. But the goal is to use two. So we're going to use land area square footage twice. Why? We're going to, as I mentioned, we're going to look from 7,500 square foot up to 10,000 as far as comps. Okay. Now, you do have, because I get this question all the time, you do have an option to use is between, where you can use you could put 7,500 dash 10,000. You could do that. But I want to show you another method that can, using IMAP, give you some of the, and I don't want to use the word hidden comps, but it's just a lot more effective. Okay, so we're going to enter a minimum value. So I'm going to go here where you see land area square foot. We're going to say greater than or equal to on this one. And then the second one, I'm going to say less than or equal to. I just find that this is just a far more effective way than using is between. Is between can sometimes miss some additional comps. Okay, so I'm going to go here, 7,500. All right, and then the cap, less than or equal to, again, 10,000 right there. Whoops, there, 10, yeah, boom, boom, boom. All right, okay, now we can continue to enter more data, right? So my goal is to find comps at least going back a year. So I'm going to open up this menu here, the little flag, and you can do what I'm doing. You can use the little bar in order to go back, for example, a year, or you could literally just type it in. You could put 08, 01, 2024 if we're going to go back a year, just as an example. Or you can just click on the little calendar. That'll supply that data automatically. Okay. Now, the other thing, other set of advice that I have is, especially if you're looking up comps using any tax roll program, there's a lot of interfamily transfers. They happen, right? And usually those are for free. If there's any kind of deed modifications, there could be a cost directly, through the county where it costs maybe $100. And if you've run comps before in IMAP, you find those interfamily transfers. That's not a comp I want to find, right? I want to remove those. Okay, so what I would do is go here where you see sell price. What I would do is I would use greater than or equal to, and so I don't pull up those interfamily transfers, so they don't show up in my comps. I would do this, sell price greater than or equal to, meaning the minimum of what I'm asking you is to look at above, for example, $110, just as a point of reference. Okay, from there, if I run this search, it's going to pull all comps available there. So this is a slow moving market in Key Biscayne. So it did pull up this one comp that came back. Let's just go down real quick. And it might be the very one that we just found here in the MLS. It is. Okay, so this is a slow moving market. So we would need to do possibly that new construction search and maybe find new construction sales. So I am coming back with that same exact sale that we have here. Previous owner was 1455 Ocean Drive Il Villaggio, LLC. And we do have the grantee, which is the current owner, the buyer that owns it now, Ros Marchetta at 1.7. Okay, so this is a prime example of we don't have a lot of comps to work off of. Okay, but we maximized looking at all sales that we have access to. Both would have been reported through the MLS and of course those for sale by owner comps. Okay, so if I'm only finding this one, that's all I have as far as sales. What I would want to do is, and this is a backup, not a primary. What I would want to do is do the infill method and try to find new construction sales in this area and find an infill lot as well to see if that piece of land was bought. I want to find that price, and then that's going to probably tell me that price difference when they originally purchased it. Okay, so before I do that though, the other thing that I highly recommend, especially if it's not in a, especially if it's in a non-rural area, the property that you're looking at, you always want to use the county appraiser's website. You always want to know what's going on in the neighbor property. So, for example, just to pretend if this was an infill lot where there's nothing there, right? It's vacant, but there's a neighbor next to it where there's a property. There's a good likelihood that there's electrical hookup there. Just want to make sure I mention that. Always take advantage. Map, they do allow you to also look at if it's under the which municipality that the property is located in. Want to make sure I mention that. Very important because that's going to tell you who you need to contact there. We can also see the individual zip codes as well as the commission district. Very, very important. And here's what's really cool about using county appraiser's website is there is an option. Let me just find it real quick for comparable sales as well. A lot of us don't know about this. You can also check for comparable sales as well using their website. So it is coming back. Let's move down real quick. I'm just trying to see if we pick up anything else. Again, this is not foolproof. We would want to pay attention to any vacant residential sales. There is single family sales. There's a ton of condo sales. And we also have some individual vacant land lots, including the individual square footage of those vacant residential lot sales here on the right. Okay. Always take advantage of all of this amazing information when you use the Miami-Dade County website, Broward County Appraiser's website, Palm Beach as well. Okay, so let's go back real quick. All right, so again, this is a backup option, not the primary way. Let's try to see if there's any new construction sales. So we're going to go here, search. We're going to go into the section RE1, RE2 for single family condo. All right. From there, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to move into that same zip code that we're studying, 33139. All right. We're going to use active, coming soon, active with contract. We're going to use closed. We're going to go back. Let's do a year. We may go back a little bit farther. Okay. So again, we're looking at where we can build single family homes. All right. Let's look at 3-bedroom, 2-bath for the style of property that we're looking for. All right. And then from there, what we're going to go ahead and do is to try to turn this into a new construction search. We're going to go here, 2020. Let's do 5 as far as when the property was built. Okay. So, we're a little stuck here. Let's go with plus and see if there's any. Okay. We're stuck. We're really stuck here. Okay. So again, this is an area that has already primarily been built. Okay, let's go back. Let's do just to see if we can pull up anything. 2024 plus. Yeah, okay. So this is not going to work for this particular area. Not going to work. Okay. Let's just for the science, let's just mix this up real quick. Let's use another area. You guys are more than welcome to put that in the chat. We don't have to use 33032 in Homestead. If you have an area you want me to look up just to demonstrate how to do this infill search, again, it's not foolproof. It's just a backup if we cannot find land comps. You guys, if you have a zip code, you're more than welcome to put that real quick in the chat. All right, let me pull that up real quick. Okay. 33304. Lena. Okay, perfect. And then, yeah, 33141. That's a good one too, Medium. All right, for now, I'll go with Lena. Let's just see if we can at least demonstrate this. Okay. So we're going to start with the 33304. All right. Okay, let's go to year built. Let's do 2025. Okay, we got one. We got one. Let's add a comma though. Let's also look in mediums area as well, 33141, just to see if we can pull up some additional. Okay. Let's put a plus sign just to see if we get any pre-construction. Okay, we're limited. We're limited. Okay. All right. That's fine. Let's remove bedrooms. That might be why. Oh, there we go. Okay. That's fine. That might have been the other problem. Let's go into results real quick. Okay. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So we have all of these amazing zip codes to particularly look at. But what we would want to do is kind of consider close sales as king as far as looking at this information. Okay, so we have Biscayne Beach right here, North Bay Island as the individual subdivisions. Just going to use this one as a point of reference. So I'm going to click on this folio number. All right. So right here, this unit was originally listed at 5.2, sold at 5 million. What we're going to do is we're going to click on the folio number. What I want to know is if I can try to see through the deed history, I want to know ultimately how much the buyer paid. Okay. So I have it right here, not the first sale, the second one right here, this one right here. So originally, when the developer purchased this piece of land, specifically Demarca LLC, they paid 1.1 million. When they developed the unit and they built it, they paid out with the new construction, we're looking at 5 million. So as I mentioned, we see the math here. Typically, and this is a great example, typically the cost of the land when it comes to new construction, it's somewhere in that pocket of 20 to 30%. Okay. And sorry, I didn't mean to click on that one. Let me close that one real quick. We see that right here. Okay. This is a backup option in order to find additional comps as well. Okay. All right, guys, we're going to keep going. Now, another really cool thing that you guys can do in IMAP is, especially if you're working with a buyer, okay? You're working with a buyer that wants to develop on top of that land and they're on a budget, okay? What we can do, and this is something I also do as an investor. What you want to do is you want to locate where it was either an interfamily transfer, meaning it went from maybe mother to son, mother to son, father to son, the daughter, right? Typically speaking, if it's within a family, the person that receives maybe that piece of land, they're going to sell it possibly. I'm not saying this a 9 times out of 10. They might sell it pennies on the dollar. Okay. If there's a probate scenario, right? The beneficiary through the trust, meaning the person that was assigned to receive that piece of land, they're going to sell it likely pennies on the dollar as well. So I want to highlight real quick how you can possibly find deals. But I want to make sure I mention what I'm going to show you is accessible in Miami-Dade County, Broward, and as well as Palm Beach. First, just for this quick little scenario, what we're going to do is we're going to find recent probate scenarios where the beneficiary is now in possession of that land. And if we have a buyer, the negotiations, and I'm not saying all of the time, but they should be possibly a lot easier in order for that buyer to purchase that piece of land. Okay. All right. So for this sample, we'll use Miami-Dade, but as I said, you can do this for Broward County, Palm Beach, Martin, St. Lucie, any county built into the system. Okay. So we're going to look at all of Miami-Dade, all of Miami-Dade. So we're not going to go to zip code or city. All right. But we do need a very, very important filter, which is right next to sale date. I'm going to switch it to sale deed type. We're going to use equal to. All right. And then we're going to go right here where we see probate court documents. So again, I'm going to use sale deed type equal to probate court documents, meaning from there, we're going to look at all potential residential land. So we're going to go here, property use code just for now, let's use vacant residential. All right. Again, as I said, this could be any kind of land where I can build a single family home, duplex, triplex, up to four units, depending on the zoning district and the use of that land. Okay, perfect. From there, we're going to go ahead and we ultimately do need that sale date again. So I'm going to repurpose the field above, or you can use any of the fields you're not using. You can repurpose those too. So I'm going to go here, sale date equal to, let's go back since December 1st. Okay. So what this means, I want to make sure that everyone digests what we're doing. It means that again, the person that received a piece of land through a trust, they're still in possession. They're still in possession. We're going to find all of those sales from now, going all the way back since December the 1st. Once I go here to greater than or equal to. So that's very important that we touch base on that beautiful button right there. Okay. Now, also under cell D type, you do have the ability to find those interfamily transfers as well. And I say this nicely, you can also find the divorces as well under that option. Okay, so from there, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to start the search. All right, since December the 1st, we do have three landowners that are still in possession of their units. Okay, so how do I know that that's the case? So we go right here. I click on that folio number and I have the property identifier, the folio number, the address. There is three different individuals assigned that received this property through the trust. The tax mailing address. It is zoned vacant residential. Again, that's according to, one more time, according to the state of Florida. But according to the city or municipality, I get greater information that this is zone 0081. If I don't know what that means, again, I can go to the property identifier, the folio number. Once it loads, I can move down. That I can go right here. So this is going to be in the city of Miami. I can go into the T3 district in order to find through Miami 21 what can be built there. And it does look like single family homes that we see here. Okay. Now, as we go back real quick, as I move down, this is how it works. So right here back, and I say this nicely, back in February 19th of 2025, Anna Bichachi Trust, they assigned this property directly to the three current owners. Now, of course, during a negotiation, strategy, all three of these individuals would have to be okay with the selling of the land, of course. The other thing to keep in mind is when you go into the Broward County appraiser, you always want to know if the lot next to it is the same owner, because sometimes there might be another lot. For example, maybe this single family home, I say this nicely, the person that that the property was through a trust, they may have owned both units here. And I think this is a great example of that. Okay, so we have it right here. Let's move down. Tax mailing address is 2570. We'll click on that one. No, they're different. So this owner is not tied to this individual vacant lot. Always double check there because the person through the trust may also own the property right next to it, essentially. Okay, perfect. Now, as I go back real quick, right there, it's letting me know that it has been assigned to the three current owners. Let's go back real quick. Let's look at the second option just to show that one real quick. Now, that one was listed. Let me go back real quick. This one was listed and it was canceled. Okay. So this one was, looks like they had it under standard residential land in the MLS, priced at 135, as we can see, in 33167 in the zip code, but they canceled it. This is an indication, depending on when they became in possession of it. So this was back in December of last year. They listed it back in May. So these are definitely looks like they're at least some of the individuals that were on the trust that now own it. It looks like there was some kind of motivation in order to sell it. Okay. Now we also have this third option here located in Homestead. That's a booming market for new construction, 33033. I'm going to open this up real quick. Okay. Also another scenario where there's three individuals that we would have to contact. All right. As we go down, there it is. It was through the Luis Pedro Trust. And we have here Lisette, Shana Paulo, Adriana Paulo, and Luis Villanueva as well. All right. Okay. Now, again, that's just going back. I want to be very clear, since December. Now, there's other options that you have. I just wanted to show those off real quick under sale D type. Let me just refresh that real quick under sale D type. There's another option real quick outside of probate court documents. There's also personal representative's deed. That is also another option that you have there. That one might yield more options under the probate scenario. Now we're going to keep going. We're almost done with class. Now the other thing that I want to show real quick, we did cover the residential land. The other thing that I would want to show you guys is always, one more time, know what's being sold. If it's just raw land by itself, if they're including permits, we have to pay the permits back in order to purchase it. You have to see what's pertinent to each one of those land sales. Now, what we're going to end today's class with, which I hope you guys loved this class. It's new. It's new. If you guys want to see it coming back each month, going into other counties and other areas, let me know. I can keep bringing it back. The other thing I want to mention real quick is you want to make sure that if you have a developer that wants to look for where they can build 5 or more units, or even 4 units, because 4 units or more, they do classify under commercial. I know that's weird, but it does. You would want to go here under search, and you can easily within the MLS find in greater detail. You have the ability to find where, for example, the owner of the land is already letting us know if there's utilities underneath that ground. So again, commercial land is where I can find where we can build 5 or more units, and there is an option for 4 units also. That is going to be listed here. Okay, so I'm going to go here under search. We're going to just end today with a really cool search that could turn into listings for you guys. Okay. What I call this search, just real quick, it's a bonus. If you've taken my commercial classes before, you've seen it before, but I just want to fit it. What we're going to do is I call this a pre-construction search where I can find the next areas of development. What I want you guys to do with this search is turn this into an auto email so that you don't have to wait until the construction's done. What a lot of agents do is we wait until the construction's done. We wait until the sales office is open. And once the sales office is open, we then go in and then try to become an in-house agent for that developer, right? And the issue with that, and I'm not saying that that's a bad practice. The issue with that is by that point, you are already competing with hundreds of other agents. And if you do this method, I like fishing. It's what you're doing is you're putting out a line, right? And I taught you where you can now go into IMAP, right? So once the buyer buys this land, maybe it's land where we can build 40, condo units, multifamily units. Maybe it's the next area where we're going to see Lennar or DR Horton build. We can follow up directly with that developer or local developer and let them know, hey, I know exactly what you're going to do with this land. You're going to build 40 multifamily units. The goal is to contact the developer or investor in the initial stages right after permitting so that we might be able to pick those listings up. And as long as the permits are done, and as long as the build out has been paid to the developer, we can list those units in the MLS with renderings, as we kind of saw earlier. Okay, so how do we run that search inside of the commercial land section? Okay, what I ask that you guys do, especially if you're a commercial agent, incorporate the following fields. Usage, I'm going to show you how to add these. Usage, remarks, lot size as well. That's going to determine once I do math on what can be built there. I have lot description, or I can use lot square footage. I also have the ability to see any on-site utilities, including electrical, gas, cable TV, the number of parcels. A lot of land sales have multiple folio numbers included, so it's a great way to know if there's a parcel sale. Zoning information, very important once we start learning those. And of course, I can also search based on the previous use of that land as well to see if there's flexibility on what we can do with that land. Okay, so we're going to go right here where we see add. Again, these are going to be the fields that I recommend. It's going to be usage, remarks, lot description, on-site utilities, number of parcels, zoning information, and last but not least, last use. Okay, so over here on the left is the library. So I'm just going to go ahead and put in here real quick, usage. I click on usage, I add it. Remarks. I type that out, I click on it, I add it. We're almost done with class, guys. Do not worry. Just a bonus search to show you guys. Again, this is called pre-construction. This is before services like Dash knows what's going on. This is before New Home Source Professional, New Estates Only knows what's going on. Okay, number of parcels. We're going to add that one. And then zoning info. Again, if you ever take at the commercial MLS classes, we do a deep dive on how to do this research. This is just a bonus. All right, I'm going to go back real quick. And before I let you guys go, you kind of saw how to do this search earlier based on agent's remarks. So we're going to use active with contract, pending, closed. We're going to go back a year. All right, for this, let's work both Broward County and Miami-Dade. Kim, you're more than welcome. Absolutely. So as I go down, we're going to go ahead and go into usage. And then we're going to click on unimproved multifamily, 5 or more units, and then unimproved single family, 5 or more lots as well. Okay, I'm going to go to remarks. I'm going to put asterisk, and then I'm going to put in that keyword that we saw a lot of agents using where they submitted plans directly to the city. They had an architect create renderings that were possibly approved. We have to double check the remarks. They submitted plans in order to build there. Okay, now we're going to keep this loose. I can enter lot size if I need. I can also enter utilities in order to figure out what's been done, right? Okay, let's just go ahead and sample this real quick. So I'm going to go to results. I just want to show you how this works. Now you can look at these individual pieces of the land right here through the results, or if you know South Florida like the back of your hand, you also have your map as well within Matrix. Now, anything in green, that's going to mean that it's still available, still active and available for sale. And anything under orange, that means it's under contract. And anything under baby blue means it's sold. A buyer has purchased that piece of land. So what we're going to do here real quick, let's go ahead and just to show you, I'm going to jump to Hialeah real quick, 33010. I'm going to click on that listing number and show you how amazing this search is, especially for my residential agents. It says it right here. Exceptional development opportunity in Hialeah property has been rezoned. I told you this is happening. And approved with site plan for 18 multifamily units, 15 two-bedroom, two-bathroom apartments, and 3 studios. The surrounding area is experiencing rapid urban growth with new projects and strong rental demand. Buyer will be responsible for demolition of existing structure. So they're letting us know that there's something already there. Let's just open up the map real quick. Let me drop the Google guy right there on that lot. Let me just zoom in so I know that it's there. So they're letting me know that there's something there in order to remove it. Let me just make sure that's the right. Yeah, right there. That would have to get knocked down in order to build. Okay, so they're letting us know that there's property there. Okay, so let's go back real quick. Again, what I want you guys to do with this search, a lot of great stuff in here. A lot of great stuff in here. This is where you get to look like the local, again, expert when it comes to new construction in your area. And it's a great way to learn. your multifamily districts, your single family districts, townhome districts. Go here where you see save to turn this into an auto email. So again, save auto email. This is going to be where you can look like that local expert, follow up with the buyer, track the permits through IMAP. Once they're done with the permitting, you can contact them and try to get some more listings. So I'm going to go here where you see subject. I'm going to put future areas of development. All right. I'm going to use the schedule as daily. Click on save. And then over here in the top left corner, again, this is recorded. Do not worry. This is recorded. You'll get a copy. You go to My Matrix. You can quickly find this individual auto email search. Go directly into the results and find new areas of development as they become available, guys. That is it. I do want to thank you so much for your time, guys. I want to make sure that we demystify. The whole goal is to demystify understanding zoning districts, understanding your use codes, and how you can apply that when you service your buyer using our MLS tools. Okay. Again, thank you so much. I haven't been on Zoom in a while. Connie and Christy, they've taught a lot of Zooms this month, but you'll see me again next month. I'm bringing back the Working with Investor series on Zoom. We have the commercial series coming back on Zoom, as well as Show Me the Money and much more, guys. Before I let you go, real quick, let me put in the chat my link tree. I'm going to put in the chat my link tree real quick. Some of you have this already. Just going to put in the chat. That's my link tree. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Instagram. There's also my direct telephone number. My cell phone number is in there as well. And Jose Javin, he asked a very good question. Go ahead and jump directly into this guide. There's a commercial resource guide as well as an MLS Help Center. That MLS Help Center is packed with videos, including the training videos that we have that we go over, matrix, commercial, all of that's here inside of that link tree. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. And I do have another Zoom if you guys do want to jump on it. I think it's at 11:30. Let me do a double check. Yeah, at 11:30, I have another Zoom where I do a deep dive on stats reports, including matrix, RPR, and much more, guys. I'm a numbers guy. I love stats. If you want to take that class, it's at 11:30. Just make sure that you go to the main website, miamirealtors.com. Once you're there, go directly into the education section, go into the calendar to register. See you there. Thank you guys so much. And be on the lookout for the today's recording, today or tomorrow. All right.